The arrogant tourist threw a firecracker at the guard's feet, laughing out loud. But within a second, his face turned pale. The crowd caught everything on camera, and the police officer coldly stated, "You are banned from entering the United Kingdom." He thought it was just a joke. But let's start from the very beginning. The London air is filled with the noise of the crowd and the constant murmur of tourists flooding the square in front of Buckingham Palace. Dozens of people stand with their phones raised, snapping pictures of the famous British guards. These sentinels, dressed in crimson tunics and tall black hats, stand motionless like stone statues, unfazed by the hundreds of eyes locked onto them. Tourists laugh, chat, and snap their cameras. A child tugs at their parent's hand, pointing at the mounted guards, while others gaze in awe at the tall golden gates of Buckingham Palace. The atmosphere is lively, everything moving as usual, until he arrives. Chad, a large, heavy-set man with a beer belly, squeezed into a tight blue t-shirt that struggles to contain his bulk. His black jeans hang low, and in his hand, he holds an open can of beer. He looks to be about 45, his fair skin flushed. Whether from the scorching sun or the alcohol is unclear. His eyes are glazed over. "You see these guys?" He croaks, nudging his buddy with his elbow. Standing beside him is Travis, just as big, just as drunk. He's dressed in a white tank top, stained with food and sweat. Lazily sipping from a bottle, he squints toward the guards. "They stand like statues," Chad snorts. "Bet I can make one flinch." Travis laughs, his beer sloshing in the bottle. "Dude, seriously? They're trained for this. They don't care." Chad grins, his drunken eyes sparkling with mischief. "Ah, nonsense. I've got something interesting." He sways slightly, reaches into his pocket, and pulls out a small firecracker. Clenching his fist around it, he shows it to Travis. "Let's see how tough he really is." Travis' eyes widen, but then he bursts out laughing. "Go for it, man." Chad lights the fuse. The flame races to the base, and without hesitation, he tosses the firecracker right at the nearest guard's feet. Boom! A deafening crack echoes through the square, bouncing off the palace facade. A woman with a child screams, clutching her son. A young man drops his phone, and an elderly tourist staggers back, clutching his chest. People whirl around in shock, their faces frozen in panic. But the guard doesn't move. He stands as still as ever. His tall black fur hat hides his face, and his hands grip his rifle firmly. The crowd holds its breath. Chad, slightly stunned, looks at Travis and bursts into laughter. "Ha! He really didn't move." But his joy is short-lived. Out of nowhere, 2 security guards appear. The crowd hasn't fully processed what just happened. The sound of the blast still rings in some people's ears, the air thick with a mix of fear, confusion, and growing resentment. And then, movement. 2 large men in black suits emerge from the crowd, moving quickly but without panic. Their faces are serious, earpieces nestled in their ears as they receive instructions. These are not men who need to be told twice. Their presence alone makes it clear. The jokes are over. Chad doesn't notice them at first. He's still laughing at the unmoving guard. But his laughter cuts off when a heavy, iron-like hand clamps down on his shoulder. "Stay right where you are." The guard's voice is calm, but there's a cold threat beneath it. This is not a request. It's a command. Hey, take it easy, guys." Chad throws up his hands, trying to step back, but he doesn't get the chance. The grip is ironclad. His face shifts rapidly. The drunken amusement fades, leaving only dumbfounded confusion. It was just a joke. Travis, standing nearby, takes a few uncertain steps back, hoping to blend into the crowd, but the second guard has already cut off his escape. He no longer looks amused. You have committed a public disturbance near a protected site, the first guard states, his tone as steady as a judge's sentence. You are under arrest. The crowd comes alive. Seconds ago, people were stunned by the sudden blast, but now seeing the situation unfold, they pull out their phones and start recording. Videos begin rolling, live streams start, excited murmurs rise. Chad writhes, trying to break free. His face flushes not from the heat, but from the sudden realization of the mess he's in. "Dude, it was just a firecracker," he shouts as the guard swiftly twists his arms behind his back. "A firecracker!" Someone in the crowd mocks. "This idiot just threw a firecracker at a guard's feet." A man yells, filming the whole thing. Laughter ripples through the spectators. What a moron! What did he expect? He's done for. Chad scans the crowd, his eyes desperate for someone to step in, to defend him. No one does. In fact, they're enjoying the show. Travis no longer struggles. He stands frozen, his face reflecting the realization that they screwed up. "Dude," he mutters, swallowing hard. "I think we're totally—" But Chad doesn't hear him, because from around the corner of the square, deafening everyone with its siren, a police van approaches. The crowd keeps growing, swelling like a tsunami before the inevitable crash. People stand shoulder to shoulder, their faces lit by smartphone screens, arms raised high to capture everything unfolding before them. The air is filled with whispers and chuckles. "Dude, he's screwed." "Yeah, he's getting arrested in front of the whole square. I'm live streaming right now, 500 people watching. Threw a firecracker and thought he'd get away with it?" Every stare pierces Chad like a blade. A minute ago he was laughing. Now his throat tightens with an invisible noose of panic. And then he hears it. The siren. It grows louder, wailing over the deafening silence of the crowd. A second later, a police van rolls into the square, red and blue lights flashing, reflecting in the eyes of the spectators. A door slams. 2 police officers step out. They move calmly but with absolute purpose. Both are tall, dressed in dark blue uniforms with Metropolitan Police patches. Radios, handcuffs, and rigid plastic batons hang from their belts. One, a man in his 50s, with short, graying hair, adjusts his holster. The other, younger and fit, instantly scans the situation. They are here for him. Chad swallows, but his mouth is bone dry. "Come on, you're not seriously gonna arrest me." His voice rings out loudly, tinged with panic, but still laced with that same drunken bravado. He thinks that if he says it loud enough, it'll somehow fix everything. But it won't. The officers say nothing. They just look. One of them exchanges a glance with the security guards, gets a confirming nod, and only then takes a step forward. Chad catches the eyes of the crowd and sees them laughing. They're enjoying his humiliation. Travis stands beside him, his face pale as chalk. He's shrinking back, pressing into the space behind him, wishing he could disappear. But he can't. "Name?" the officer asks calmly, pulling out a small leather notepad, already jotting something down. Chad blinks. This feels too real. Chad Wilson." His voice is small. Now he realizes that his loud, booming laughter a minute ago was the last echo of his illusion that this was all just a game. It's not a game. The officer marks it down, then continues, his tone flat, almost bored, as if reading a grocery list. "You are being charged with public disorder, creating a dangerous situation, and vandalism." Each word hits like a sledgehammer to the chest. Chad swallows hard, his breathing becoming shallow. This has to be a joke? The words stumble out of his dry lips. Desperately, he scans the crowd, hoping someone will say, "Come on, guys, let him go. He's just a tourist." But no one does. For the first time, the officer looks up at him. Exactly. His voice is calm, even, emotionless. He closes his notepad and slips it into his pocket. And now you are banned from entering the United Kingdom. The crowd erupts. Shouts, cheers, laughter. That's karma. Oh man, he really screwed up. A lifetime ban from the UK, and he just wanted a laugh. Some people cackle, others are already typing. Tourist arrested for firecracker. Into search engines, eager to see the headlines, but Chad doesn't hear them. A white noise fills his head, and a cold knot of fear twists in his gut. He just lost everything over a stupid joke. The square in front of Buckingham Palace no longer hums with the buzz of a tourist crowd. People are dispersing, moving on with their sightseeing plans. Some still chat about the incident, but many have already moved on to their next attraction. But for Chad, the show isn't over. He stands alone among dozens of people, yet he feels like the smallest person in the world. Moments ago, he had been smirking, feeling like the king of the square, tossing a firecracker at the unshakable guard. Now, his own body trembles with the weight of the catastrophe unfolding. Standing before him, the 50-something police officer with a stone-cold face extends a crisp, white document toward him. It feels like a death sentence. Bold printed letters at the top. Read. Fine. £5,000. Beside it, a line for his signature. Sign here, Mr. Wilson. The officer's voice is icy, a judge delivering a final sentence. Chad doesn't move. £5,000. He can almost hear the number crashing down on him like a slab of concrete. Sign. The officer's tone hardens. With trembling fingers, Chad takes the pen. One thought pounds through his head like a drumbeat. It was just a stupid firecracker. What the hell? This has to be a joke. But it's not. He signs. As soon as the ink dries, the younger officer, the one with the thinly veiled disgust on his face, steps forward and speaks the words Chad will never forget. You are permanently banned from entering the United Kingdom. Chad blinks. For the first time, he has no words. You... what? The officer looks at him without emotion. Your name has been added to the blacklist. The next time you try to enter the UK, you will be denied at the border. It hits him like a physical blow, like someone just pushed him off a cliff into ice-cold water. The crowd doesn't clap, doesn't cheer, doesn't condemn, but they all know. He turns away from the officers and walks off, stumbling, silent. Travis walks beside him, just as silent, just as stunned. Neither of them knows what to say. The street noise around them blurs into a distant hum. The world feels out of focus. Travis, almost on autopilot, pulls out his phone, just to distract himself, just to escape into the screen. Then, he freezes. His face slowly drains of color. Dude. His voice is hollow. He stares at the screen, blinks a few times, as if trying to process what he's seeing. You're trending. Chad blinks. He doesn't even understand the words. What? Travis silently turns the screen. On the YouTube front page, in giant letters, American tourist throws firecracker at guard. and gets exactly what he deserves. Underneath, the view counter. 500,000, 600,000, 750,000. Chad feels his stomach twist. This has to be a mistake. But it's not. Travis scrolls to the comments, and each one hits like a brick. This is what happens when you don't respect other cultures. Karma at its finest. He looked so tough at first, now look at him. Where's that confidence now, buddy? Instant classic. Legendary moment. Chad feels the blood drain from his face. He stares at the screen, but he sees nothing. The noise of the crowd vanishes. Time stops. The world shrinks to that phone, that video. His name in the trends. And then it hits him. This won't go away. This isn't just a funny clip people will forget. Now, the entire internet knows him. He slowly sinks onto a nearby bench. His hands tremble. His eyes are empty. I just wanted to have fun. Just a stupid joke. How did it all go so wrong? But there is no answer. Only the glowing screen showing his life turning into a meme.